What's happening, folks? Happy Monday night to you. Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're getting this week kicked off here. The Doc Talk's coming up, and we got the top CKB qualifiers. We got the tournament director from CKB and WKB in here. We're going to talk a little fishing news stuff, and who knows what's about to happen. But let's go ahead and kick this pig. What's happening, folks? We are live here on Monday night, TPO Doc Talk Podcast. How the heck are you, folks? We just got done here in Colorado with a little mini doubleheader, if you will, kind of between the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters and the Wyoming Kayak Bassmasters. Wyoming Kayak Bassmasters is getting a brand new club fired up. And having their first qualifier here, thanks to James Strawbridge and the whole team over there putting things together, help get Wyoming on the map here. Cool deal getting set up there. We'll see where this thing goes over the next couple of years. We got the man himself. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in early here, and because he's pretty much podcast gold anytime we get him in here. And he hasn't even been drinking, so that's the best part. Let's go and bring in James Strawbridge. What's happening, brother? Oh, you hitting that spring water hard, aren't you?
Yeah. Can you imagine me with one beer?
No.
Good times.
We wouldn't be live, I'll tell you that.
Robitussin.
How the heck are you, man?
Oh, good. And yourself? Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Of course, I figure, we're bringing in, we've got sitting in the green room, we got the two guys that are going to be going to the big dance for Wyoming, which is a cool deal.
Yeah.
One day they'll be writing stories about, the first two guys to ever go for the WKB. There'll be books and songs and shit.
It'll be a short story.
That's right. So listen, man, I don't know if you caught this here, but I just wanted to talk just real quick, and I figured I'd bring you in, let you chime in anytime you wanted to fire it up. There's just been some kayak fishing news, some stuff going on, and keep an ear to the ground and watching stuff happen. I don't know how far do you read into this stuff? I don't know. I don't know if you should take it for what it is, but national kayak scene is what we're talking about here, and we're talking about just watching numbers for everybody but one entity, really struggling a little bit and dropping down, because I'll tell you, the two big dance shows in the entire kayak fishing scene is Hobie and Bassmaster, right? And you go back 2 years ago and you'll find an episode where I flat out said Bassmaster, if they decide to, will be the big dance, right? Well, that's happening, but what I didn't see is in one fell swoop, a Texas Hobie Boss event get 44 anglers signed up. Now, there's two things in play here. Anything else is speculation, but two things for sure in play. Number one, it was one of the few events that they're doing this year where they didn't allow motors in. Okay, that's the first one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was so. It was from what I could see and read. That's what it looked like.
Okay.
And then time of year obviously is what you're looking at for the other one. But 44 anglers down in Texas, bro, and then 15 of those were local Texan anglers. So when the Hobie Boss is putting up numbers, that even we at the All American can surpass. That's something to be said, to watch pretty close, man. That was scary to me, because it's like, wow, is this a sign of the times where we're going?
Well, I think with the motor thing, that's a very valid point. And then the other thing is, I do believe you guys with the All American had the Classic going on at the same time, right?
Yeah, we did.
Was it not the same weekend?
Yep.
So, I mean, you did have some influence on that. Well, so maybe not a lot, maybe a lot. I don't know. But between those two events going on and no motors allowed, I don't think Hobie's going to do that in the future with no motors. I think they're going to absorb that and see that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's curious. I mean, obviously, no one benefits when one of our series starts to tank, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's not on the wish. And we said this a while back. Josh and Troy and I all talked about this. Um, that we're not in competition with Hobie and with Bass. That's not our purpose. Our purpose was to offer another option for a group of anglers that perhaps maybe don't want to chase that side and
Yep.
that don't want to drive that far, right?
Right.
That's the whole
Right.
purpose of the All-American.
Yeah.
So no one and AJ is beloved in the sport for a reason. I mean, the man has given a lot of his time and life to the sport to build that boss into what it is. So
Where's their next event? Where's the Hobie next event at?
I embarrassingly I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Okay. I
I'm
didn't.
not sure. Now on to something a little bit lighter though. So I guess that's the kayak fishing news. We're watching that closely. I tell you what, All American, we're going to Okoboji this weekend, man, and I'm watching that registration and sitting here going, wow, okay.
How many you got?
Last time I saw, man, like 11, and I'm looking at that going, come on, boys, where's those local clubs? We got 3 local clubs, and I know kayak anglers like to wait to the last moment.
Very much so.
and I'll tell you what, I didn't have a dog in the hunt, right? So I didn't think much about it before, but now from the planning side of things, that drives me up a freaking wall. Stop it. Sign up as early as possible because we try to plan for like food and the award ceremony, and we try to, set things in place. Man, waiting down to those last couple days to see where the numbers come in, that's nerve-wracking. It really does put the organizers on the spot going, oh man, I hope this actually shows up. So we'll see what comes out of it.
It's a great fishery for sure. It really is. I mean, I hope you guys get the numbers because man, it should be, because that's a big time smallmouth lake, right?
Big Spirit could be that, but definitely you're going to find some 20 and above greens inside of it. Dude, it was that top 20 last year. It took 168 inches just to break the top 20 last year. Those are big green fish, big brown fish. It's usually ends up in Bassmasters like top 10 thing every year. They're up there. All right, so on a little bit lighter note here, I wanted to share this with you, and then we're going to bring our guest in. It looks like we got old Freckles is in the green room there. That's looking awesome. We got him. But I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this, but this is the human side of our sport that I love so much, because when you do have a chance to meet these guys one-on-one, you see that they're no different than you and I, sitting here talking. And I'm talking about the big guns in our sport. These guys, when they deal with the same stuff that we deal with, and they have to go through, the same trials and tribulations. So I'm going to bring this up here. You should be able to hear the audio. This is Jordan Lee. I mean, this kid is a phenom in the sport, and here's the whole video of him narrating it.
So yesterday, Lake Murray, I had to take a leak. I got one fish in the box, 11 o'clock. I'm struggling. I'm thinking, man, they're not live on me. Nobody said anything. Well, they were. So I'm taking a leak, and one bites it. Fish number 2, it's out there jumping. I've done this before. I've peed and caught a fish, but never on national television.
Now,
oh boy.
I'm telling you, there we go. The part I love the most about this is the nonchalant, I've peed and caught one before, It's just, yep, sure, why not?
Yeah, but not on national television. I mean,
right.
We've all done that. I'll keep it G-rated for family reasons, but my buddy and I on team tournaments in our bass boats, it's every time, you got to use the bathroom and you keep fishing, and that should be a clue, though. That should be a clue. You've slowed down a little bit, right? You've changed something because you're kind of standing there, right? So,
right.
You could take that as a good thing, right? You just figured out a piece to the puzzle.
Exactly.
More water.
And the thing I loved about this is Jordan just 100% owning this thing, man. He's just, bam. Yep, that was me. Did it on national TV. What can you do? Loved it. Good stuff. All right, here. So let's go ahead and what do we got here? We got a couple folks. joining us here online. Stacy Jordan, my man, out of the Ozarks there. What's up, Stacy? Joining us on the YouTube side. We have Brianna B joining us here. How are you? Great to see you here. We're going to go ahead and bring in these guys here. And I was going to bring them in one at a time, but you know what? Screw that. Let's just bring the whole gaggle in here. Just because you never know when you get a bunch of anglers together what's going to come up here. So if you have kids at home, yeah, you might want to send them someplace else. I'm just saying.
Wow,
I can't guarantee what's about to happen here with this. Most of them, but that champ, the guy that won it, he's a wild card. You just never know what's going to happen with him. So, all right, let's see here. Yes, Jason Lovell. Jason Lovell should have been here tonight. I want you folks to know that. But this is one of the hardest working guys in bass fishing here. He's on the road on I-70 right now. He drives truck, and he's driving down I-70 through Kansas. So he's listening, he's watching us, but he can't join us. Jason, we love you, brother. You did a hell of a job there, and we miss you on the show tonight. So, and Nick Wetherill, what's up, brother Nick, joining in. Good stuff. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring in the man of the hour. The guy wins the CKB event, also wins the WKB, the champ for the day.
For the year.
That's true. That's true. WKB.
Champ.
He's the state champ in Wyoming. That's right.
He is the champ.
Oh, crap. That's right. I can see new stuff going on this kayak. Mr. Joshua Gardner, let's bring him in. What's up, buddy?
What's up? How's it going, guys?
Good, brother. Good. We got also in here coming in, I think, if memory serves, third, because second was Alex Rojas, correct?
Yes.
And Alex is trying to make it here. It's Alex's birthday. His family's got stuff going on, so he may or may not be able to get in here, but he's got the link. Coming in third place here, we have Mr. Levi Barks, first time on the show here with us. What's up, Levi?
What's going on, guys?
And none other. This is like a TPO, Doc Dog vet here sitting out here. Let's bring in my homie, my brother from another mother, Mr. Old Freckles himself, Mr. Eric Ali. What's up, Eric?
I'll be the old guy in the room. Hello.
Of the guest, I don't know. You're younger than me. I know that.
I think I'm the old guy. I'll be 55 in November.
Oh, crap, you are.
Oh, crap, you are.
Oh, good
So
stuff.
I got my hat on backwards. Maybe I should square up the bill.
Well, the kids, the adults did with here.
Square up the bill and start throwing big swim baits, huh?
So let's go ahead and talk to you. Josh, that was not an easy deal. You and I ran into each other on Thursday during pre-fishing, and we were both sitting there kind of scratching our heads, and we were covering a ton of water, dude. We met at the 3 mile mark, I think, from the south. Both of us were clear the hell up there. We were searching water everywhere.
Yeah. We were cruising down the lake. I mean, Saturday or Thursday's practice was really tough. I don't fish out of the south end much, but and I know why, because I know guys catch them down there, but I just can't. But I had to keep it honest. But yeah, man, I ran the whole lake in practice, and I still didn't find much.
You know what I've learned? Everybody that wins a Horsetooth, or no. Anybody who knows they're launching from the north will always compliment the south. Oh yeah, there's big fish there. Because they don't want you coming up north.
Yeah, you just stay down there. You just stay down there.
I said the words before this damn event. I said, I wish someplace other than the north wins this event. Eric, you almost did it, brother. You were on something there.
Yeah, I gambled. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where my tournament strategy is listen to the 5th place guy talking here. You know, like but anyway, I gambled, and it's one of those things that my tournament strategy is typically to target marginal water. But when you do that, the stars have to align a little bit. And then on top of it, you have to fish perfectly clean. And I did neither. So, but I have won it south, and I've finished well east. And it's one of those things, though, when you put in the time that these guys do up north, I'm pretty sure Mr. Josh knows every nook and cranny up there. And well-deserved win.
That's good
Thank you.
stuff. Levi, where'd you launch from, brother?
Up north, of
Yeah,
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
How much water? How much water did you cover though? Even though you launched north, you still covered some water, didn't you?
Not that much,
Really?
actually. So on Friday, I went up and pre-fished, and I ran down south to get an inspection done. And I was like, I'll probably just launch from down here. And then I ended up saying, screw it, I'm going to run up north and go back to that back, I think it's Parks and Wildlife area back there, to see if I could launch from there. And talked to a guy. He's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. And then I drove to that north boat dock, and the water was so high. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to launch from here and just go see what we can find. And ended up catching an 18-incher on Friday. So I was like, that you got to do it, you know?
Right. Well, good stuff. All right, Gardner, so talk to us, brother. What was, after all the pre-fishing, covering a ton of water, scoping stuff out, doing what you're doing, what was the game plan when you started on tournament morning?
I didn't really have one, to be honest. I mean, the guys that came into the shop on Friday talking to me probably think I was lying through my teeth to them, but I was literally telling people I'm just going to go out and fish Saturday. I had found a few fish on Thursday on that far north point. They're always there. That's just like the classic spot. I think that's kind of where it was won last year. But I scoped it. I saw some trout, but didn't see any fish, and so I just was gonna go fish some shallow stuff. Trick I learned from Strawbridge was to feel the fish's belly, kind of figure out what they're eating, and caught one in practice, gave him a little feel, and it felt all crunchy in there. And I was like, all right, well, I think they're eating craws, even though it's springtime and it should be a bait fish deal. So I figured I wanted to be on like mud flat to rock transitions where it was going to warm up and there might be some craws up there coming out of their holes. So that was the plan, and none of that really worked out, but that was the outset.
I want you to know that I stopped paying attention right after rubbing the fish belly because because that's what I'm going to remember from here on out is that Gardner's out there.
Oh yeah.
Just rubbing fish all day.
Smelling inside their mouth.
Yeah, I'm looking in
crawdad
there. I'm
or is
looking
that
for
shad?
antennas. Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. That's solid. So yeah, and I saw your breakdown that you posted up there, your recap there. It was a phenomenal recap, by the way. Well done with that. And it's, sometimes it gets there, and what was funny is that when you started lighting up, you said there was that, that 2 to 3 you hit on a few fish, right?
Yeah. I caught 3 in an hour there, or 45 minutes, and I think it was actually 15 minutes. It was on like in a span of 10 casts, but I came off of like 5 or 6 of them. I ended up losing them. I was fishing scummy, but I still managed to get the ones that counted in. So
right.
If you remember in my podcast, everybody was complaining about the later launch, or not my podcast, in my captain's meeting, they were complaining about the later launch. And I'm like, you know what, guys, this time of year with that colder water, you're not going to get a topwater bite. The mornings aren't going to be epic. It's not a bad thing to launch late. The bite's going to turn on the later we go. If we would have went to 4, Eric might have pulled something out, or
Oh, you're damn right.
Yeah, or Josh could have got better. Could he have broke 80? Right? Could any of us change that outcome? But it's definitely an after later afternoon thing there that last weekend for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We weren't cursing you. We were cursing the place that holds it, dude.
Yeah, well, I'm cursing myself because I do hold myself responsible for it, and I've been around this long enough, and putting a schedule together has to do with timing, fish positions, migration routes, and you got to get all that. You got to try to time it right. You hear it all the time on Bassmaster. They're always saying zone is like, oh, this one's going to be on fire, and it never is, and then they got to build up the hype. Or sometimes they hit it right, and guys are coming in with 30-pound bags every day, right? Lake Fork, Toledo Bend, for example, this year. So it's a crapshoot. You hope to do it based on timing. You hope everything works out right. And if it does, it does. Everybody's a hero. If not, then boy, I look really bad.
Well, but dude, at the end of the day, we're given the same parameters. That I think that's what makes tournament fishing so great. Is we can insert any excuses we want. We could say anything that we want, but from the hours of whatever it was, 7:45 to 3:00, Mr. Josh there smoked him, and we didn't. And it. Don't matter if we start early, we finish later, or whatever it is. The parameters we're given. That's what we're given, and may the best angler win, and he did.
Exactly. Oh, we got a fan for the Ali here hanging in. Is this Mom?
Yeah, that's Ma.
Awesome.
That's me, Ma.
That's awesome. How are you, Mama Ali? Thank you for stopping by our show. That is awesome. Good stuff.
So let me ask Josh something real quick. Were you cranking shallow, mid depth? Were you thrown up to the bank, or were you like paralleling in 10 feet of water?
So I started out really shallow, casting shallow and bringing it back. And I started noticing throughout the day that they were just kind of roaming up and down like the transition zones. You could tell right where. One of the coolest thing with live scope is you can really see like where the fish are. So on that rock to sand transition, they were literally using that as a highway going up and down the bank. And so I was trying to cast kind of at a 45 degree to start in the sand and then bring it back down across the rock. And that's when I started getting better bites. But, it was a huge thing to have live scope in that tournament, even with cranking, and mine died in practice. And thankfully Shields was able to get me a new one the night before the tournament. So I'm installing it at 11:30. Completely missed the Northern Lights, by the way. I was outside installing a live scope instead. But I mean, it was just a huge advantage that tournament to have it.
Nice. Yep. Nice.
And with our waters here in Colorado, they are crystal clear. I hear some of my buddies from across the country talk about, man, got to this really clear pond, and I'm looking at it going, dude, that's like 3-foot viz. I'm watching the bottom at 25 feet, man, in this water up here. And so when you have that kind of high pressured fish like that, yeah, that forward facing, if you know what you're doing with it. And the fact, folks at home, if you're paying attention to this, what Mr. Gardner just talked about is like next level stuff. The pattern within a pattern that he discovered. This is not entry level kind of, oh, hey, I found that. This is a lot of time, effort, and work that Josh has put in, and you can clearly see it. Take it from an old guy that got his ass kicked again by Josh Gardner. So
it's that live scope, man. It's running the sport,
right? Isn't it though? So Levi, when you're heading out there, man, and I mean, are you scoping and hoping, or what? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what's your go-to?
Just strolling.
Really?
So when we were out there, like I was telling Josh, I wouldn't even see the fish. I was just blind casting and making sure my bait was 6 to 12 inches off the bottom, and the fish would just rise at it. That's the only way I could get them to eat. So I wouldn't really call it scoping. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at, honestly. I caught one because they were schooling on it. But besides that, I mean, like he was saying, the rock transitions, I went to that not the first dam, the second dam on the left, back in the little cove. And as soon as that rock went to sand, they were on it. I don't know if they're waiting to pull up, or I have no idea.
Same thing, transition then. You were on a transition edge. They're just using that transition to get to that flat because their instincts say to spawn, right? They're just using that as a highway. They can make stops along the way on big boulders. And then if I'm thinking of the area you're talking about, there's some chunk rock, that bluff wall underneath that very jagged. So once they even hit that transition, they can go either way, shallow or up that bluff.
Yeah, I lost a giant. He bit and straight dug and hooked me into, like you were saying, them bigger boulders. And I thought it was over after that.
Wow.
Nice. Good stuff. And Eric, so you took off. First, I want to tell you, so E is one of the biggest dudes on the circuit. Take that from a big dude. Eric's bigger than I am. And when he got in that damn Hobie and cranked up that Merc 250 that he
Right.
disguises as an electric motor, bro, he dropped dead, walked away from us. He launched after us. He was behind us. And all I hear is snickering and a wake of fucking water. And there goes Ali just, yeah, leaving us. And all he's saying is, I can't steer. I can't steer.
I was gonna say, I can go fast, but I can't control it.
He is like in full send mode, dude. And it's just plowing water and he's gone. And I'm just sitting there like, I can't push my button any harder. I'm leaning up trying to get the draft just right. Yeah. Lovell was like, could surf the damn wake. Exactly, man. We could surf off that wake. So you blast off and you take off. Where was, was it east? Were you looking east?
Yeah.
Or was it...
So we've got so many tournaments right now that pre-fishing is tough. A lot of us just came back from Truman, so I got that's so great. I got I got a fish on Friday, and it's one of those things where when I pre-fish, I'm looking for theories. I'm not looking for fish, right? I'm looking. Sometimes I use hooks. Sometimes I don't use hooks. It's over the years you develop a gut feeling, which leading up to my gut being wrong here, so I should just be quiet. But anyway, I thought I had something, and it's one of those things. Like I love fishing marginal water. Like it's. If I can get away from people and I'm not sharing 5 fish, I feel like my opportunities are higher, which is also why I either do good or I suck. There's usually not very much in between. But anyway, so I head east and I shake like a 12 or a 13 incher on a jerkbait right away, which turns out would have been a big fish, a really big fish because I didn't fill a limit. About an hour or 2 hours into it, something like that, I got one on a paddle tail. And I was strolling, same thing. You're going to hear that a lot in the folks that are doing it. And Levi, you'll probably echo this. Like you have to learn it. It's not something that you just go out and you throw a jig and a minnow. Like you really, really have to learn it. And I've put in the time, and it's a bite that I look for. At Truman, after I had a limit on day 1 at Truman, I was trying to find something offshore in case day 2 was going to be difficult. But anyways, so back to it. It's about 11:30 where I'm telling myself, like, you know what, dude, you gambled and you lost. And I was fine with it. Like if that's the only fish that I caught, I did it my way. I didn't see other people until a little bit later, and then at about 11:31, I go, nah, it's not going to work for me. So I started moving water. I started junk fishing. I couldn't put together a pattern. It was 20 years of history and hitting all the spots that I know. And I think if I would have had a little more time, or if, I'm trying my best not to cuss. It's very, very hard. Or if the turds on the bank would have quit throwing rocks, I think I would have had a better opportunity. But overall, I'm super happy with it. And being an older gentleman here who's been using live scope for, active targets, same stuff. I think this is my 3rd year with it. Levi's onto something, right? I think a lot of people, they get live scope and you feel like you have to have fish on the screen. You got to make them eat and all the rest of this stuff. The sooner everybody watching this, it's new to live scope, active target, anything, the sooner as they use it as a tool, an information gathering device, and not as the sole means of catching fish, they're going to do better. There's some great sticks that really, really struggle with forward-facing sonar. And the reason is they're using it for more than a tool. You know what I mean? It becomes a thing. Like I hear this term all the time. He's a scoper. It's like, it's not a scoper. He's utilizing a tool. It doesn't mean he's catching fish on the tool. You know what I mean? So Levi, when you said that, dude, it was just like, it was music to my ears. And then Josh, like, dude, you're on like I'm almost guaranteed you have a subscription to Bassford magazine. Is that fairly accurate?
Like the Bassmaster magazine?
No, Bassford magazine, the Japanese magazine.
Oh, yeah. I
can see that. Absolutely.
But yeah.
So I think you're going to see a theme here, and there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to adapt And all I can say to those people that don't want to adapt is keep paying entry fees.
Well, it's such a learning tool, and for something that we love, we're gonna have to just accept it and just at least try it. You know, if you're completely against it, just give it a shot and see. But you have to realize that little screen and that live scope ain't gonna make those fish bite.
No.
You know, so I kind of hate that Bassmaster is the people are trying to ban this, and then you have guys shit talking other guys that use it. I think it's uncalled for, honestly.
You know, the 360, the side scan, I mean, a lot of these things perhaps didn't get hit with as much fire just because you didn't have as much readily accessible camera views of what this can do, you know. But dude, do you know the amount of practice time that side scan alone, how much it cut down practice time? It was drastic. And Humminbird for the longest time led the way because of their HD capabilities, man. That their side scan, you could spot fish off of that, you know, pretty easily. Fish beds you could see with the side. You know, and it took the industry a little bit to catch up to it. Now, is it the identical same? No, but is it in the same vein of it? 100%. And that's all it is at this point. And I think as time goes, we'll see that we're okay. You know, it'll balance out.
Dude, if you made me choose between mapping, side scan, and forward-facing sonar, other than the bodies of water that we all know like crazy, like the ones that we have to fish tournaments in Colorado. I'm not giving up my maps for anything, right? Like I'm just not. Now, I think that this is funny because I'm 43 years old, right? I'm definitely not a spring chicken, as you can tell by the certified gray in that beard right there. But I think there's a lot of older people that don't want to accept that younger people are good, that younger people can stick fish, and that's why the bullshit of grow the sport that we've been hearing for 25 years. It's growing, and now it's making a lot of people uncomfortable. Guess what, bub? You don't get to stay in the spotlight forever. It, just like all the in the kayak fishing scene here, there's going to be a time where us older guys, we're going to have to go, damn it, these young kids are great, and it's time to start a senior division. Now, it ain't today, I'll tell you that much. But it's coming, you know?
If those older guys can learn the same as us, they have the same shot.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
And they're looking at it wrong because when you look at forward-facing sonar, for one, Levi, Josh, you guys, it's not forward-facing sonar that's catching fish. It's talent, it's skill, it's time on the water, right? So you get older people. Well, I mean, tournament fishing, there's luck. I know some of the best anglers I know struggle in tournaments, so I'm never going to say that it's not that. But when you have older folks that have so much knowledge and they refuse to adapt to the newest tools that we have, and it's the funniest thing, dude, because it's like I've seen a dude in a brand new Ranger with all the bells and whistles say it's a limiting factor, people can't afford it, and I'm going, what are you talking about, dude? You know what I mean? You got $100,000 wrapped up in a boat. You got $15,000 in other types of electronics.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh,
He was getting so fired up.
Limiting factor.
It was.
His
He was going to say,
net-
and you still can't catch him.
Oh, there he is. Now he's back.
Yeah, dude. It filtered out all the cuss words. I'm glad I got them all out.
Fires me up. I love it.
You know, and that's the cool thing with our state, though. I will say this. So what I do like, I don't mind a struggle tournament. And the reason is because I'm sitting here right now in a podcast room, and Levi, you and I have not formally actually met, so I'm not 100% sure. Are you a Colorado native here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in Johnstown.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
So you guys, all four, have way more knowledge of these bodies of water than I probably ever will get. And so I actually do appreciate when they don't fish like they're supposed to, because it puts an even playing field out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that what can happen, like what happened, what you guys did at Horsetooth for the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters and the Wyoming Kayak Bassmasters, I don't walk away from that feeling like I gave something away, like I was, garbage here. I sucked and I could not find big enough fish, 3 small ones and then 2 wrong flavors. But I'm totally cool with the fact when I hear how you guys went through and, you guys you put your chin in the pocket and you kept swinging, man, and you just did not stop until that final bell. That's honorable to me, man. That is a good death, to accept, that's a warrior's, walkthrough. So sometimes struggling, it's okay, especially on these kind of waters like ours. And that's where you start getting these extra tools coming in that everybody, gets excited about using this and that. So,
Yep. Well, I didn't really realize how tough it was until I seen Caleb. And Caleb was like, "Hey man, if you catch 2 more fish, you're going to be in it." And I'm like, that don't make no sense, because I don't have much for length at all. And then I rolled down and talked to Josh, and he's like, "Man, I don't have hardly anything." And what time was that? 1 o'clock?
That was 1 o'clock. I had 3 in the boat until we were both fishing outside of that island, and I caught my 4th. But I had 3, and I'm like, man, I posted these fish. I'm number 2 right now with 3 fish. This is ridiculous.
I think if I wouldn't have ran into you, I wouldn't have done what I did. Honestly, I probably would have just been like, let's head to the ramp. But talking to you, I was like, yeah, let's go for it, And then that point that you're talking about that you can see from that north boat dock, I caught that 14.5 with 5 minutes to go.
Oh,
Wow.
Sweet.
wow. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So this is a good segue. I'm going to bring up the Wyoming Kayak Bassmaster final standings here. Let's put these up on the screen here, and we'll keep it like this here. So we had 27 by the end of it. We were 3 shy from being able to send a third person, but 27. So we had basically 78 inches won the thing. Levi in second place for the WKB there. That's right. And then Jason was in third at 70. Eric, you were in fourth on the WKB side, bro.
Yeah, that 12-inch fish that I was like, it's Horsetooth, dude. This isn't important. It's a little 12-incher. Turned out to be pretty important.
Yeah, that could have helped. Trev, our man Trev there, who is a stick, he put up 4 fish. Danny, Caleb.
I think he fished down south, didn't he?
Who's that?
Trevor. I think
Yeah, he did.
He launched, yeah.
He launched south.
Yeah, I didn't. I was at the inlet is where I went.
But I do believe Trev wound up upper lake somewheres. I don't know. I don't think he's stuck.
I was going to say,
I don't know.
Trev likes to launch from a location and then go to the complete opposite of that location because it's very difficult to track him. Then
he runs the lake.
He's a freaking fish ninja, man. He's definitely a fish ninja.
Even when he didn't have the motor, he showed me his track one day at Pueblo.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe he makes it back in one piece above the water, still floating at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday at Pueblo. Like where he winds up in the afternoon, so far away and across the lake, and he's got to come back over that. That he needs to bring flares and guns and flags because I can't believe he doesn't get run over. Like it's crazy.
For sure. Here's the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. This was the bigger one. We had 32 registered
Half
anglers.
the field skunked.
Yeah, you got it from 17th on.
Talking to like Levi when he looked at the leaderboard and it kind of changed things. Like when I was talking earlier, it's gambling, right? It's like 11:30, and I'm like, dude, I got one. It was 14.75. I'm okay with it, and I'm fragile sometimes, you know what I mean? So I pick and choose when I check the leaderboard because this old ego can only handle so much. And when I saw the leaderboard, I went, oh, this old boy's got a shot still. And then I started like hitting the other spots. But very, very interesting. The how tough it was, because we could have fished the day after, and somebody could have put up.
Yep.
I think I won the spring event. I don't know if it was last year. I've got quite a few finishes in the top 3 at Horsetooth over the years, and I think I had 83 last spring, something like that.
Yeah, mid 80. Yeah.
And then I do know that was it Michael Archuleta? No, it wasn't Michael Archuleta. It was Tafoya, I think. I might be getting the names wrong, but it was a dude from Colorado Kayak Fishing Club years ago. He put up like 85, 86.
Michael Tomeo? Michael Tomeo?
Yeah, Michael Tomeo. Yeah.
Yeah.
85, 86. He put up some really big numbers. So it's one of those things where for Horsetooth to fish that tough, I think it was, and I said this on the chat thing, or the Facebooks or the YouTubes or whatever the hell it is, that it was post frontal, post pre-fishing. And I think it's true. I think, because the thing is nobody's doing this for a living, right? We all do it for fun. And if some folks, that's the 2 days they're going to be able to go out in 2 weeks, is Friday to pre-fish and Saturday to tournament fish.
Yep.
I don't blame them for beating them up. Do I wish they wouldn't beat up my spots? And I see so some of you jive ass turkeys that are watching this right now, I'm going to tell you something. I see you guys going out there beating up spots on the other end of the lake, and just know that old Freckles here will do you back one day.
Yeah, go beat up somebody else's water and then go fish your stuff.
That's right. If you remember, Big John Mazurko did that one year. He at Pueblo, he beat up one side of Pueblo, and then his tournament spot didn't pan out, so he had to go back on tournament day to the water he beat up.
We got a question coming in here. This is a good one here. I want to get to right after, but Alex Rojas coming in second place there. Always good to have Alex come up and join us up here. Levi with that one coming third. Jason fourth. Eric fifth there. Trev coming in sixth. So just basically in the top had a couple guys, and yeah, still a ton of the field there still struggling and not putting up fish. Yeah, I couldn't smash I had 11.5, and boy, I was thinking, boy, if I squish it, maybe no, not going to get a half inch out of that little thing. But one of the
things you notice if you're on the lake a lot, and Levi and I were talking about this, is that Horsetooth is changing. The fish population is changing very rapidly from, right. It used to be impossible to catch a 17 there. They didn't exist. And the last 2 years I've caught 3 or 4 over 19 there. So the fish are getting bigger, but you used to be able to go out and crack a 50, 60-inch limit no matter what. I mean, you could throw a spoon on the bank and you're going to catch a bunch of 12s. And now they're getting a little smart. And so, like, the lake's definitely changing. And it's changing the tournaments, because we've seen tougher tournaments, but usually the win is a big number. I mean, we had last year for CKFC, somebody, what was it? They caught like an 18 1/4 or something. It was a big fish. Like, it was a monster. And you should just never hear that. So, like, the lake's changing, and that's just all time on the water stuff. The more you fish it, the more you kind of recognize, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to go get that 12 to fill my limit. I got to have some spots where I know that the bigger fish are going to be.
For sure.
Yeah, it goes through its cycles for sure. There's no doubt that it goes through its cycles. Yeah.
Cyclical.
I'll throw you for a loop here. I think depending on the time of the tournaments, there is a window where I think somebody could hit 90 at Horsetooth.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. No, here's what I was talking to Ron Solberg about this, and he looked at me like I was crazy. I think, fish are patternable species, right? They live off of patterns. They live off of migration routes based on seasonal time of year, water temperatures, blah, blah, blah. What do you guys think? Do you think these fish actually realize that Monday's a quiet day, Tuesday's a quiet day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they know I think those fish realized when a Saturday and a Sunday comes, they know and they expect it. And then they hear all that commotion. And it would be interesting if we could get 33 guys to show up at Horsetooth on a Wednesday in May, on the first or second week of May. I would love to see, there's your 85 inches. I would almost guarantee it. Fishing on a Saturday is not the same fish as fishing on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Never hold a tournament on a Monday because they just got hammered all weekend, right? Give them some time to rest. Give them a Wednesday or a Thursday. But I know it's through the week. No one's going to show up. It would be tough, but I think the numbers would be there at any lake in Colorado.
So I did a I did a webinar once on with a fisheries biologist who had spent 22 some odd years studying largemouth and smallmouth bass. He maintained, and I just sat there the whole time thinking to myself, I don't believe you. But he maintained that what they have discovered to this point, what they would say is that a bass has a memory of about 15 minutes. After that, they don't have the mental capacity. I 100% wholeheartedly disagree. And now I know I have no basis to say so. He's got science backing him. I don't. But I do believe fish can get patterned. I believe they get conditioned to certain circumstances, be it bait, be it presented, forage or something. I just personally think that I've seen it. I've watched them, over time. I've watched fish in a given body of water change to where my spinnerbait no longer works on these guys. They know that shit hurts. I don't like that anymore.
I don't know if it's a memory. I believe him that they have a memory of about 15 minutes, but I think it's more of an instinctual thing. They know they feel the vibrations of the boats. They feel it. They know it. It's more of a genetic thing built in that they can create patterns over time for their own safety. It's a survival thing, right? I mean, we still have it as humans from 10,000 years ago. That's why we still get gut feelings, right? When you get a gut feeling, if you're camping in the woods and you get a gut feeling, hey, something's not right, and then something happens, you had that gut feeling for a reason. That is 10,000 years of evolution telling you what the deal is. And those fish know it, especially out here when it's every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, wow, 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 wake boats and baits flying past your head. And then they get 5 days of quiet, and then it goes wow, 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 and then 5 days of quiet. Come on, you're going to tell me they can't figure that out?
I'm not saying this to be a contrarian. I'm just a turd, and I can't help myself. But there's a couple of things to think about. Number one, if you follow Major League Fishing, if you follow Bassmasters, if you follow all this stuff, we're learning what we know is not 100% accurate. Where fish are supposed to be, they don't read the books we do. They don't. It's not the same. So if you take in a couple external factors of how fish are reacting, smallmouth and horsetooth specific. Horsetooth is super deep. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that there's populations that are untouched. I honestly believe that. So in time periods where fish are moving up in numbers where they're not competitive, I think that can directly affect the bite. When they're moving up in numbers where it's not that food's a scarcity, but you know how smallies are. The easiest way to catch a smallie is have a smallie next to two other smallies, right? They're going to hit it. And then the other factor of it is, and I know we've all experienced this to some degree. I've had bites in my life where I wait for the boat traffic. You know what I mean? I wait for it to stir things up, because what it does is the prey species, it can discombobulate them. We can create mud lines. We can do all these things that'll fire them up. I'm going to say all that shit to say, James, I agree with you. but it is. It's one of those things. Like I'm the type of angler that I'll always listen to people, whether they're older or younger. And there was a generation of collegiate anglers that fished at CSU that they were smoking everybody, just absolutely smoking everybody. And they were on a bite that most people would not do.
With Keen Velez and those guys, right? Is that when you're talking back in with Keen?
Adam Deacon,
Keen?
Alex, yeah, and it targeting fish in 75 foot of water, but getting them to come up to 30 feet of water, that kind of thing. So in a tournament setting where all five of us are not going to go, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and try something that's never been done and see how it pans out. I do know a CKFC event a couple years ago. Jimmy Blanco was on that particular pattern, and he lost his. You see how vague I'm being in case it ever does happen. But he lost what he was using to target those fish. So I just think that I think Josh, you're on point. I think that it's upticking, like Pueblo's upticking, and some of the other fisheries are upticking. But I also think at some point some of us are going to break off and find fish that nobody else is targeting. And in the meantime, we're going to eat crap while trying to do so, but it's going to happen.
Especially with forward-facing sonar. Trev and I had this conversation that no one has unlocked Pueblo yet. Evan Cox might be able to do it.
That kid is so good. I've been in the boat with him at
so
a
it's
certain
going to
lake,
be
and he is
interesting.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And I still do have my bass boat, and I just don't take it out because I don't know why. I just love kayaking. But I would love to take the time to get my bass boat out there and unlock Pueblo with forward-facing sonar, because and Chad LaChance and I have had this conversation. I think deep and shallow is relative to a fish based on where he spends most of his life.
Mhm.
You know, I think you could push a 20-pound, 25-pound bag out of Pueblo, largemouth or smallmouth. It just hasn't been unlocked because 97% of fishermen fish from 20 feet to 0. I'm talking that largemouth that comes up to 20 feet to spawn, to come out to those tops of those trees that used to be down in Turkey Creek that are now sawed off. That fish now spawns on the top of those trees instead of going shallow, right? So that just hasn't been unlocked, and it's gonna come sooner or later with somebody. And like I said, and Josh knows, Evan's probably one of the kids that can do it. And honestly, if one of us put our time in on Live Scope, I'm putting my time in on it. But like Eric said, I use it as a tool to confirm things that I think are happening. And then if I can confirm those things based on what I'm seeing, I can adjust baits and presentations to that. And then once I have that locked in, I can use the tool to catch the fish. Yeah. So it's a system. It's not necessarily the technology.
Well, it's embracing the suck too, right? Like all of us in a tournament, myself included, there comes some point where you go to history, whether it's pre-fishing, whether it's Derby Day, anything like that. The two ideals of I'm going to see what I can do here versus I know what I can do here. We know what we do, right? And the other part of it too is the one of the things that makes what we do a little bit difficult in Colorado, which also all the guys from other states, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm not trying to hurt feelings. I think Colorado has some of the best bass anglers in the country, and it just so happens that most of them fish out of kayaks. I lost my point. I was just trying to flex. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a good segue there. Josh, did you have something that you wanted to comment on as well, buddy?
Yeah, I was just saying with the bait memory thing, there was a study that came out a while ago, and I went to school for a little bit for marine biology, so I was being a nerd and reading science papers. And there's a study that came out that said that they could memorize a hard bait for 3 to 5 years because there's multiple stimulus with a hard bait. There's the sound, there's the vibration, there's the look. But the reason why the Senko is still so good is because it doesn't make a sound in the water. There's a very subtle vibration, and it's scented in whatever. So that's why those baits stay good. But I think it's pretty, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the science says I'm wrong. But I would say it'd be pretty ridiculous to assume that the fish don't learn at least a little bit, because like when the Alabama rig dropped, you couldn't win a tournament without an Alabama rig in your boat. And even now, like Jacob Wheeler's on BTL saying, we got like 4 more years on this minnow bite and then it's going to go away. And he said, even the fish that I used to target with it are a lot warier of it now. And I think you see it. I mean, I've even thrown stuff myself just in certain spots that I go to that maybe are less popular, that I'll have a bait that I can just crush them on, and I'll go back same time, same bite next year, and they're definitely wary of it. So I think they learn, and I think they're the ultimate predator in their environment, and we're trying to figure it out. I think they're a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
100%.
Another thing to consider too: genetic differences in individuals. Like, fish have short buses too, dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real thing. And then if any of you guys want to dig into what Josh was talking about a little bit, if you find a copy of a book called Knowing Bass, or titled Knowing Bass, it'll give you all the science stuff that you can handle.
I just want a T-shirt that says bass have short buses too.
Tell me throughout the course of your guys' lifetime, whether it's a pond fish or a fish at Horsetooth or Pueblo, that you haven't caught the same fish 5 times.
Yeah, lip all jacked up.
But again, that's not saying the genetic baseline for memory isn't what you guys are saying. It's just that that one rides a different bus, and I'm all for it. Those are the ones I like.
Right. Got a great question coming in from Southeast Georgia Kayak Bass Fishing here. He's asking here, question, have any of y'all ever fished east or south in any tournaments, and how would y'all compare the areas where you fish mostly? So, yes, I have. I've fished pretty much just about. I have not fished the northeast of the country yet, but my feeling is that's very similar just to the north in that area. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys answer this. But yes, it is very different compared to Colorado. Colorado's waters are very much like New Mexico, like Arizona, like Nevada, like Utah. These highland reservoirs, these are all man-made. There isn't a damn blade of grass one. I had that conversation with the A&S inspector. He says, I just got to look at your motor to make sure there's no vegetation on it. And I turned and looked at him. I'm like, dude, there ain't no goddamn vegetation in this water. I don't know where I would have got it. Scraped it off the parking lot. But, so compared to the natural made, vegetation driven, it is a completely different approach. Bass are still bass. They still do what they do, but how you approach it and how you fish it, completely different game.
I will say, I was born in Albany, New York, and along the Hudson River, the Mohawk River, where they kind of intersect. And then we've got, and that's current flow. Even though it's not tidal up that far, it's still coming down from the north and flowing south. And then we've got places like Lake George that are 350 feet deep and super clear up north. We've got Lake Champlain. I have fished a lot of that. The comparisons are that majority of that back east, the northeast is stained water. It is grasses and submerged trees and lily pads, the dollar pads and all that stuff. I've fished Okeechobee once or twice in Lake Kissimmee, visiting family down there, nothing from a boat. So I can't compare really the southeast, but I can compare the northeast to where we are out here in Colorado and how it really differs. And Eric was saying that we've got some great hammers that could excel from Colorado, take them out and put them into the only problem is when we leave Colorado, we go to Lake Fork and look for that 13 to 15 foot bite on a drop shot. If Russ Schneider's came to Colorado, he's going to look for some backwaters to start ripping some, and you're just not going to find it, right? So it's each lake that I've learned has its own personality, right? Each area of the country has its own personality. And even though a bass is a bass, you have to target the environment based on where you are, because Texas fish is different than in Florida, right? And then Arkansas fish is different even than probably something up on Kentucky Lake, right? It's so variable in how you change it. It took me years to figure out how to fish Colorado because I was from the Northeast. Now, when I go out of state, if you look at my record out of state, I can't finish higher than the middle of the pack because I don't go back to my roots where I start concentrating 10 feet or shallower, because that's unheard of for us out here. You're not going to go to Pueblo and start flipping a jig somewheres in super clear water. It could work at times, but it's just not how you adapt to the area and the location. So it would be interesting to take guys from the southeast and bring them to Colorado, and take guys from Colorado and bring them to the southeast and compare stats on what their approach was on how to break down their particular lake. It would be interesting to see how they would do that.
Levi, Josh, either you guys get a chance to get down south?
I think you're muted.
Levi, you're muted. Try that. Nope. We lost his audio. Josh, how about you?
I fished the Kentucky Lake Derb for the KBF National Championship, and then I lived in Florida for 2 years, so I fished a lot of ponds and stuff down there.
Nice.
And Florida's its completely own beast. I think that's a fishery and just a state in general that's just disconnected from the rest of the world. And the fish there are completely just completely different. You know, they share water with snook and redfish and tarpon. They're mean and they're aggressive and they move like nothing I've ever seen before. You know, they'll be on one side of the lake one day and you'll catch the same fish on the other side of the lake the next day. And they're just following, you know, bait and grasses and all that kind of stuff. But
That Florida
the way that I
story.
always describe it to people is when you're in Colorado, you're looking for structure. When you're anywhere else in, you know, that I've fished, especially like Southeast, you're looking for the best structure. And I think that's the thing that particularly, you know, Colorado anglers might struggle with going other places is like, you go down to Texas, you go, you know, like there's trees, there's bushes, there's rocks, there's everything in the water. And here, if you find, you know, some people know which lakes I'm talking about, but there's certain lakes here, you find a little brush pile in like 15 to 20 feet of water, there's a 6-pounder floating on it. You know, there's a million trees and maybe 10 of them have fish on them. So I think that's the hardest part of just breaking down the difference between what is structure and what is the good structure for the conditions and the time of year that you're fishing.
So one of the best stories of comparison I can tell you is, so I go to fish Pickwick a couple of years ago, Bassmaster Kayak Series. I'm down there and I'm at an Airbnb with a good buddy of mine who's from Georgia, Josh Deal. We're staying at an Airbnb and it's practice night. I think we had one more day of practice ahead of us, had some weather. So I'm parked underneath the carport. I've got my trailer, kayaks on it. So I'm over there rigging up on my trailer. Josh has got his trailer out in front of the Airbnb. He's rigging up. Well, he gets all done and then he comes walking up. Oh, we got some reverb happening on that.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
There we go.
And Josh comes walking up, and for those of you who don't know, Josh Deal is like 6'7". He is a mountain of a human. So he comes up and he's standing over top of me and he's looking down at my all my gear that's still in my rod locker. And he looks at me and he's like, "Do you seriously fish with that small a bait?" And I look back at him, I'm like, "Yeah, Josh, I do in Colorado." That's the biggest thing I'll tell you is the finesse game. If you don't know, if you're not tied into it, you're going to struggle against guys that are sitting on this screen. That's my biggest problem is that I hate finesse. I can't spell it. I've not spent time with it. And so I'm a two-fisted gorilla walking into this stuff, and I'm trying to learn how to be a better finesse angler. I prefer to punch in with a half ounce was small to me. 10-pound line, why are you using that light line, man? I mean, 12, 14, half ounce, 3/4 ounce, jigs punching into hydrillomats. My man Cody Rollins, who's joining us, watching us from Minnesota, he'll tell you he and I used to fish around each other out there, and you're punching cabbage out there in Minnesota, man. Raccoons can walk across that stuff. It's so damn thick. That's the kind of fishing I love, right? And so that was the biggest difference between when it's just the downsizing of baits, the approach, the finesse is the must if you're gonna try to catch them.
I think that the Colorado kayak fishing community might fish tournament lakes too often. And what I mean by that is you guys got me on a Monday, so I have no filter. So bear with me, dude. For me, it's always been fishing. Like 4 years old, I didn't find fishing through RC cars and beach volleyball and a bunch of other crap. It's always been this. Okay, so I've been fishing. I'm a Colorado native. I've been doing this my whole life. And Strawbridge, you remember Lone Tree. Lone Tree was a little bit different, right? But the ponds in Colorado, you can find anything that you want. You might not be fishing out of a kayak, but when you do that long enough, it's like talking about little baits. Dude, I've been throwing swim baits probably longer than Josh has been alive. You know what I mean? I've got baits. I've got baits that were given to me by Alan Cole, and it goes back a long ways. So I have such a reverence for bass, for largemouth, spotted bass, and smallmouth, but I refuse to put them on a pedestal. Fish plus location plus presentation equals success. It's formulaic, it's repeatable, and all you have to do is decipher it in real time instead of taking your history with you. Now, we all have strong suits, right? Like, Gene, to your point, I didn't like fishing finesse until I started fishing kayak tournaments. I really didn't, because it was one of those things where it was like, why would I put on this little stupid thing when I could pitch a jig, reel down, and put the wood to it, right? But why I think Colorado, I'm really going to take you guys for a loop now, why I think Colorado anglers, especially Colorado natives, really have the ability to be really good sticks is most of us start with trout, and then we have to adapt, right? We learn from trout, and we have to adapt. And a lot of people are going to say Slimer this, Slimer that. It's like, dude, I'm telling you right now, if a trout doesn't want to eat, it's frustrating, and you learn how to adapt very quickly. And then you go through other species like walleye and obviously bass. And I think everything that you do fishing wise, whether it's in a different location, whether it's here, whether it's a different species, there's an opportunity to take from that something that will suit you in other areas of fishing. Like when I first started writing, believe it or not, I was writing about catching big trout because I left all my little trout stuff at home and I started sticking them on rogues. You know what I mean? So it's like every opportunity that we have to push ourselves outside of the norm, I think is great. And it's like, I fished Minnesota recently last year. Minnesota was, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. Minnesota fished like a private lake out here to me. Like you find the edge of the grass and you just put the wood to them. Recently fished Truman. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it's the same formulaic approach anywhere. Same thing, Florida, Tennessee, all the rest of to me. Now, talk to me after I have a hard tournament. I might change my tune a little bit, but at the same time, it's like I said, but when we put fish on a pedestal, which is very hard not to do when they're kicking your butt, all of us here on Horsetooth. I mean, even Josh didn't have the normal day that he would have had. I guarantee you, Josh, peak Horsetooth, he's putting up 84, 85. Same thing with Levi. Same thing with, James, Gene, all of us. But it's that thing where we overcomplicate it. I feel like a turd, dude. I just don't think they deserve it. They have to eat. Talking about the James stuff earlier with boat traffic and all the rest of the stuff, dude, I can tell you right now, you put 35 people in my kitchen and I will knock their ass over to get a burger if I want one. Same thing, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. It does, because who was I telling at the awards? My wife and I, back in the day on my bass boat, we were sitting in 115 feet of water, and the wake boats were going by and the skiers, and I'm out there with a spook, and we're just like tonk, 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 and there's 16s and 17s and 15s just annihilating it. But that's not the bite that you found on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It changes them. It might activate some, but that's the thing that we have to remember, that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday fish are not the same as Saturday, Sunday fish. Something changes, and you have to be able to realize that and find it. And that's throughout Colorado.
And here's another one. Do you guys remember the Pueblo event years ago that the gentleman from Arizona won? It was like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember. Was
it the KBF one for Chattanooga?
No. This was Pueblo. I think it was a K. I could tell you that the app was
Briggs.
The app was stupid. I could tell you that without any. But James, you know the dude's name?
Yeah, he was from Briggs. He fishes a lot of that stuff out in California. I think I took third at that event, actually.
Yeah. I know you did, because I should have finished top 10 if it wasn't for that stupid ass app.
Yeah.
But that being said, when you approach different bodies of water with fresh eyes, there's something to that as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just that was a Hobie BOS satellite event that was ran by the worst app that's ever been in kayak fishing ever. Tourney X for life. I would throw up a gang sign, but I don't know what their gang sign is. I'm a Tourney X guy.
The Bryce Gibbs. That's what it is. Bryce Gibbs. There you go, Trav. Yeah. I won the Hobie event, so I know the winner on that one. But I didn't. Bryce Gibbs came from Arizona, and he kicked our ass for sure. And
it's one of those things that, like, when you don't put fish. I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm sorry. Like I said, it's Monday, dude. Gene, you invited me on. This is what you get, buddy.
I have a mute button. I'm just not using it.
So it's one of those things where when you approach a body of water confidently and you don't give two rips about where everybody else is, you can find things that are different. And I looked at that guy's stats, Bryce Gibbs. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. The dude is a freaking hammer. He goes everywhere and he sticks them. He doesn't give, I'm trying not to cuss. He doesn't care where other people are at. He's looking at a map. He's trusting his instincts, and the dude is going fishing. And that's one of those things where it's like, dude, I don't care if I'm in Georgia. I don't care if I'm in Oregon. I don't care if I'm in Canada up where they say any of that stuff. As long as they got bass and I know what the forage base is, I'm super confident that I can find them.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. I want to switch gears here real quick. We're getting pretty, we're an hour deep into this. This is fantastic, by the way. Yeah, we're doing well. So I want to share a little story here. And this is about our champ. When did I meet you, Josh? It was 2
Trinidad.
seasons. Yeah,
It was
two seasons ago. Trinidad.
Yep.
Yeah. I was
We were on
just
that really sketchy launch back there.
Yes,
Story
we
time,
were.
story
And
time. I'm
that
flattening
was
you.
my first year of using live scope. And you were there on the opposite point when I got my first live scope fish. It was a freaking walleye, but I got my first live scope fish. Every time I've met Josh up to this point, and including practice of this event, Josh has got his hat on, he's got a pair of shades, and he's got a gator on. So I'm not sure if like he's a burn victim or, what's going on. I've never seen homie's face like ever, right?
Gene's canceled.
I've not seen him, other than in awards at Red Willow. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I actually saw his face then, there. But he's still got his hat on, he's got his sunglasses. He goes and wins the deal and takes his first picture. With the Colorado Bass Shield in front of his face. So you can't even see his face now. And he's holding the Wyoming, shield beneath him there. And I'm like, is dude in like the witness protection program or something?
That
What
wasn't him.
what
Well, the
is
funny
going
story-
on?
That wasn't him behind that
I
shield.
I work a lot to
That wasn't
fuel
him.
my fishing addiction, which if you guys see my kayak, you'd know that it's a bad one. But I went straight from the lake to work, changed in my car, and then worked a close shift from 4:50 to 9. So I didn't get to go to awards. But Caleb Zimmer was there. And so he's taking
Is that
pictures
Caleb
for me.
behind the shield?
Yes.
He was trying not to blow up the pictures and make it look like he won. So he hit himself back there. And he sent me that picture. And I said, man, I never knew I had that big of forearms. That's crazy. But yeah, it's a Caleb picture. And he was really excited. He FaceTimed me and everything to let me know that I won. But yeah, that was a great picture. I love it.
So let's fast forward now to today.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I asked this during the pre, before everything went off, and everybody's seen the Tom Brady roast. So that's good. That's good that you did see that, because
Oh, boy.
this next picture drops online of Mr. Gardner in his Shields uniform. He's got his hardware there, and I'm like, okay, fuck you, Josh. You can't be a good angler, be like looking like Tom Brady's little brother.
GQ.
Look. And for those of you who don't believe me, we're gonna. This is what I'm talking about.
Woo,
So,
sexy.
This is what I'm saying. This guy comes in like, GQ supermodel here, dropping the hardware on everybody. Screw you, Gardner. You can't do all that.
We got beat by a Ken doll.
Right?
Yeah.
Josh Brady.
You can probably sing too, can't you?
That I cannot do.
Okay, good. So there I am, with time on my hands, and I got this new AI filter. And so I'm like, this AI filter allows you to actually expand the photo. And I'm thinking to myself, now this is pretty good. So I expand this photo only to be, to find what, we're kind of getting used to seeing this around, because this guy's kind of notorious for this. But that's not it. Hang on. We got to get rid of the other one.
Come on, Strawbridge, get your shit together.
Right? Oh, I
You're
got one.
strawberry.
I got one for Strawbridge too. Don't worry.
Oh, God, there you go.
Where is? Okay, there we go. So
Oh, there he is.
this is what I expand the photo, and there's Chen. Chen, if you're out there, dude, you keep dropping. I want to say this. Soon as Gardner wins this, I've got this other chat with the Bassmaster crew that went to the Classic. That's both Matts and Chen. Chen is like fanboy number one right out the gates. Dude, I told you beforehand, Gardner's going to light him up this season. He jumps. So, of course, I'm like, yeah, you're going to be following Josh and any picture I get of Josh from here on out.
Chin is our crying Jordan meme of the Colorado kayak world.
Right. I will say this. I love me some Chen Char. Chen is one of those awesome human beings, and for his shirtless pic has gone a lot of places. He's one of the good dudes out there, and I love his sense of humor. So I wouldn't do it if I thought it upset him.
Yeah, and just for the record, Chen texted me that morning of the tournament and said he had to bow out. So he didn't skunk because he didn't catch fish. He just didn't show up.
Couldn't get there. Yep.
Yeah,
So-
He was one of those guys I was worried about because he can if they're biting a drop shot, he's going to catch them.
Man,
he's an incredible angler, and
Yeah.
he is in the fan club, and I appreciate it every time I do anything good. He sends me a text and he gets super hyped, but he's just a super positive guy, and I love talking to him and having him in the club.
So all you guys going to the CKFC Pueblo event?
I'm not.
No.
CKFC. Yes, I am. Yes,
I am too.
Nice. So just
Yep.
Josh.
Quick recap here. So Josh Brady, not only can he stick fish,
Right?
right? He's got an awesome kayak. He also gives to charity. Talking about you meeting him at Trinidad. So we had the Chatfield event. I don't remember when it was. It was a CKFC event. And all I remember is launching it. Where did we launch, dude?
Kingfisher.
So we launched at Kingfisher. I damn near had a stroke and a heart attack at the same time, getting my stupid ass kayak down there. Okay, so then we get out there, we fish. I don't remember how it ended up, how I did or whatever. I do remember about 2 hours left in the tournament, going, I might just leave my damn Hobie here, because it's a walk getting it back up there. So out of charity, he sees this big old fat guy trying to get his kayak back up, and he actually helped me lift my kayak back up to my pickup. And I'm telling you right now, like, I don't know what I would have done if he didn't help me. So he's got the wow factor. He catches fish, and he helps old fat dudes.
Yeah. Yeah,
that Leanne comment. Sorry, Eric. That Leanne comment was.
So who is Leanne?
That's the number one fan right there. That's my girlfriend, and she's a champ. She puts up with me showing her worms at 11 o'clock at night, fishing worms.
Yeah. And we just went off the edge right there.
I had to clarify. I know Strawbridge was going to say something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, she's great. She supports all my crazy tournament fishing and me telling her about thermoclines and crawfish mating patterns and stuff all the time. So
does she
awesome.
glass over when you start getting into like tackle storage? Does the eyes start to glass over? My wife does.
There's a picture of her somewhere where I was reorganizing all my tackle boxes, and she sat there on the floor with me for about 3.5 hours. So I really hit the lottery on that one.
Bro, you better put a ring on that. That's all I'm saying right there.
So a super weird transition, and I want to make sure there's separation between females in my next question, ladies in my next question. Josh, you talked about crawdad mating habits. Do you know what happens? Do you know what happens to a crawdad hodecker after it does its thing?
I don't actually.
It crystallizes and falls off.
Really?
Fun fact of the day. Yeah. Strawbridge.
What happened to me?
Strawbridge, are you part crawdad or?
I like wiggle worms.
Oh, we digress, boys. 1 hour, 20 minutes. Levi's sitting here looking at us like, what the hell, man?
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
This is exactly what I signed up for, and I'm loving every second.
That's right.
So if I can kind of change the tune here a little bit,
Yeah.
Levi, he's welcome with us anytime. He's part of the group, right? We're glad to have him. We don't know much about him other than I know you fished with us last year, one tournament, I do believe, right? What's your background with bass fishing? Have you always been into it? Did you just get into it? Give us something about yourself.
So like he was saying earlier, I grew up with my great grandpa trout fishing, pike fishing, and I didn't get into bass fishing until about 4 years ago during the whole COVID phase. And I mean, it's the most addicting thing that I've ever done, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
And just doing it here and there. And I bought a kayak just to, like you said, get on the ponds around here and do that kind of stuff. And it wasn't until Caleb talked me into doing the tournaments. I was kind of like, I'm kind of a lone wolf. I just do my own thing. But then we went to the Chatfield tournament last year. And that was
the winter palooza.
The most miserable experience that I've ever had in my entire life. But I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked on it.
Yeah. Thank me again. I put that schedule together too. I'm doing great. I'll be here for many more years. You guys can follow along and be pissed as much as you want.
Like and subscribe.
I pre-fished the day before, and I ended up getting a hotel room down there. And I was like, man, it's going to be awesome. I found the fish. I think I actually talked to you, James, when we were heading out.
Spot behind that column over on those two corners. Yeah, we figured it out.
Yep.
We talked it out.
Yeah. So I walked out of that hotel room, and there was 3 inches of snow on the ground. I said, this is absolutely nuts. And, man.
You showed up. There's the problem right there. We know you have a problem right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you showed up.
I think I caught 3 fish. And it put me in like 7th place. And I was like, man, I could do this.
Yeah. You know what? Eric said it best. You embrace the suck, man.
Absolutely.
I've tried to tell people that for as many years as I can remember, is that for me, I knew when the early mornings getting my boat ready and all the maintenance and all the stuff that wasn't tournament fishing, when I fell in love with that, I knew I was in trouble, because that was the part I loved, the hard work. I loved the payoff at the end was going fishing. And so, if you could go to Chatfield, our Winter Palooza event, and flat out get hooked on that, homie, you got a problem, and you're in good company here. We love you.
Yeah,
I mean,
my old lady hates
we're all in.
you see how everybody has like community experiences. He's like, I'm kind of a lone wolf, but then I got to meet all you guys, and like I was in. And all. So my first tournament was at Boyd, and I'm much like you. If it wasn't for my wife, I don't know that I would talk very often. James, you knew me before Leslie. I didn't talk very often, right? So
that's why you're right.
Yeah, that's right. So I do an event. It's Scott Brands, you dirty ass dog. I hope you're watching this. I do an event at Boyd. It's the first. I was on the board for the first CKFC, and I didn't fish any tournaments. So that when we had the bass tournaments, I fished the first one at Boyd. The first time I see Scott Brands, he goes, "Hey man, what'd you get?" I said like 82 or something like that. He goes, "Oh good, I beat you. That's all I wanted to do." And then he walked away. And karma bit him in his ass, and he got a penalty, and we tied. He still ended up winning, but anyway,
I will say this about the kayak community, and especially ours here. It's a close-knit field, man, and it's. I remember a lot of years in my bass boat. I was telling someone this story today that I fished for a lot of years out of a bass boat and traveled around quite a bit. And I bet you I could count on one hand the number of guys that I felt like, if something went down and I needed a hand, that they would be there. And I'm talking from Minnesota all the way down into the Ozarks. Not that the other people weren't good dudes that I, of course, ran across, but I just didn't feel like that community type piece. Within the first few seconds of getting into the kayak community, I had more people offering gear, help, advice, taking me out, showing me waters. It's just a total different world, man. And I'm proud to be a part of this, I don't, I might miss the cushion deck on my bass boat. I do miss that. from time to time, and I miss that point of view of being able to be sitting that high, looking down on them, and power poles. I still miss power poles. But other than that, dude, I'm so the kayak community is such a cool thing to be a part of, and we're really, really fortunate to have the two clubs that we have in this state that offer the kind of support and camaraderie. I can't wait for Red Willow, man. That's coming up next. 2 events back to back, 2 days in Nebraska. One of my favorite places to go. She beat our ass last year, man. She was kind of schizophrenic last year. One day great, one day not so great. But dude, I'm looking forward to it. I've watched what the Sticks did. They put up some pretty decent numbers there. Yeah. They were just there this weekend.
Did you see all the 20s and 21s that were caught? Even guys that didn't fill limits. I'd say a third of the field or more had a 20 and a 21 on their board. And they might not have caught 5. Maybe they got 3, but out of those 3, 2 of them were 20s.
I'm telling you, at any given cast, that 21, 22-inch fish she's there, maybe bigger. And any cast could be that one. That's the part I love. I'll fish all day long for like Eric, like you said, 5 bites. I mean, for the chance to bring in one of those hogs, hell yeah. I'll drive a struggle bus right through a wall. That's not a problem.
Are you gonna make it, Eric? Are you and Leslie gonna make it?
Yeah, we booked our hotel room, and while you're driving the struggle bus, I'm gonna be looking for those big fish that rode the short bus.
That's right. There's a lot of bus traffic there.
Real quick, dude, I just want to go back on something you said about the kayak community and the boat community. I think I realized something this weekend talking to a douchebag in a bass boat. So the biggest difference is the dudes in the bass boats want to win and think they should win. The anglers, because we have lady anglers, my sweet lady being one of them, the anglers in the kayak community, they want the best angler of that day to win. If it's them, great. If it's not them, also great. That's why when the awards, dude, like it doesn't matter if we finish 15th, 20th, 25th, first or second, there's always a number of people there to support everybody. And I think that's the big difference. The entitlement of this is my water and all the rest of that stuff. It's like, dude, most of us started in a kayak because we could afford it. You know what I mean? It's just something so cool. And then Red Willow, yeah, we're going to be there. And like I said, I'm looking for the short bus fish.
Yeah. And, so Levi, are you gonna make that? And we talked about it briefly at the awards this weekend. Are you gonna try to make it out to Red Willow?
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, we just had our first kid, so it's kind of a learning experience here at home.
Congrats, brother! Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. She's 3 weeks old today.
Wow.
A month, wow. Sorry, a month old today.
Hey, you know what they say? That first kid is magic. I mean, BP won an AOI. That first kid is good fishing voodoo. They always talk about that on the Elite.
You leave it to a kid that doesn't have kids to say something like that. You know what I mean? Your first kid's a lot of work.
Your first kid is a lot of work. Absolutely.
Is there a story we're missing here? The little lady says we will be safe in Red Willow this year. What, were you not safe in Red Willow last year, Josh?
Oh gosh.
Come on. Never mind.
This is my redemption year. Last year, I jumped my car off a bridge, taking a nap on the way home. And so car, trailer, kayak, all gone. Managed to get out of there with my life and my health, which I'm super, super blessed for. And so I'm mad at him this year. I'm coming back with some revenge for Red Willow. So I'm excited and gonna have a lot of Red Bulls in the center console. So
I want this to be known. I will get you a room if that's the reason why you want to try to drive on.
Absolutely.
Don't drive tired, man. That's the biggest. I do a lot of driving, and I'll tell you, I'm learning as I get older. I can't put in the 15, 16 hours anymore in a day. I hit that 10 to 12 mark, brother, and I'm looking for a soft spot in the highway. I'm pulling over, I'm going to sleep, or I'm going to grab a hotel. Just accept the fact that it's worse. Driving tired's worse than drunk, dude. It just 100% is.
I'll slide on in here and tell the dumbest story that you'll hear. For you guys ever fish the Big Thompson for little tiny trout?
Yeah.
Okay. I was a young kid. I was 17 years old. We did what 17-year-olds do the night before. Woke up real early because I didn't want to miss the bite. Long story short, I fell asleep, and I got a skin graft right there, and I got a skin graft on my hand. Same thing, falling asleep. There's more to the story that's not suitable for your podcast, Gene. But I completely agree, dude. And you don't know it, to Josh, like, how many times has anybody watching this fell asleep a little bit while driving? You don't realize how potentially dangerous it is until something bad happens.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you're all good.
You never realize is you don't know you're falling asleep. Like you really don't realize it until you're,
Airborne.
You're airborne. And I had a couple seconds to think about it up there. And almost gave Jimmy a heart attack over there a couple times, but thankfully we made it out, and everything's good, and he's making sure that I'm sleeping the night after the tournament this year.
Yeah, he's not going home. Like Gene said, I don't care if he needs a room, he can stay with me, and if he wants his own room, I'll pay for it. I don't care, but he's not going home if he shows any sign of tiredness. Right?
That goes for anybody at the CKB event, man.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
We got room at the campsite. So come on over.
You guys are much nicer than I am. I'll just make sure he doesn't drive. You might have sleep in your car, dude, but you're not going to drive.
Exactly.
Ali's taking the keys and putting them in the fishbowl.
There you go.
So, before we wrap this up, and I know Gene probably wants to cut it off, I just want to say to these two, Josh and Levi, what you guys have accomplished with WKB is pretty big.
Dude, it's huge. It's freaking huge. This is awesome.
It's great for Wyoming. It's great for Colorado. It's great for everybody. Your guys' life will change because of this experience in the long run, the overall experience. We're not 1-2 days past this thing. You're already on podcasts. I encourage Levi. I know you've got a child, and Josh, you're busy at work. Stay tuned and follow along with us on Facebook at CKB and WKB as much as you can, because we are going to promote and pimp you guys. We're going to want to hear about your adventure, the drive down there, document as much as you can. Keep us all informed if you want to, obviously. I'm not asking you to start a YouTube channel or anything, but you are going to have people following you on your journey, and we want to hear about it. Not to mention that in October 5th, Colorado Kayak Bassmasters has its own qualifier coming down to Pueblo. So I'm hoping we can get 30. I would love to see 40 people show up. I don't even know if we have 40 people signed up for our club yet, but I think we could hit 30. So that means that you guys are going to have 3 more comrades to travel down with. Even though you guys are, quote, qualified through Wyoming, you are from Colorado.
Absolutely.
And you can still fish the state. And you can still fish the state. Your position would just be rolled down if you win the state deal.
Yes.
So Fort Worth, right? It's going to be in the Fort Worth area, the Classic?
It is going to be a little north of Dallas. The elites are going to be on Ray Roberts.
Yep.
So they are going to choose a lake like they always do within an hour of Ray Roberts, which is north of Dallas. I have some hearsay that, Steve Owens is looking at, everybody's thinking it's going to be PK or Texoma, or they're going to take the run out to Fork or whatever. I think he's going to do something a little different this year, and I can't guarantee this is what it is, but there's a lake called Eagle Mountain. I think that's what it's called. I haven't.
Yep. That's right over there.
Okay. And there's another lake, I think, north of that. So I think he might be putting 2 lakes, like a Roadrunner type of thing, and you can practice and fish either one and pick your poison on either one to spread everybody out. It's a great fishery. They're small, so that's why he's picking 2 to spread out the field and make everybody go where they want, or let everybody.
So Eagle Mountain and Louisville are both right there, and Levi was saying he thinks it might be Louisville, and I was saying, I'm in the Possum Kingdom boat just because last time they had the Classic at Ray Roberts, the Kayak Classic was at PK, and I'd love to fish that fishery. I think that sets up well, but I'll be excited to fish it wherever it ends up, even if it's in a mud hole somewhere.
Do this old fisherman a favor. Don't put fish on a pedestal, right? Just go and do what you both know how to do, what you did at Horsetooth. Walk in there, put your biscuits on the table, and bring it home.
Yep.
So easy. Just like that.
I just got a funny
But it really
story about, Levi and I were dragging our yaks up to the truck, and we were sitting there, and he launched right behind me, and so we were kind of jawing up. And this is the second time I've ever met him, and then the first time was the night before the tournament. So when he came into the store, and I was sitting up there like, man, what if we just 1-2'd this thing? Like, what if we went to the Classic? And he goes, hey man, we can drive down together. And
there you go.
Caleb FaceTimed me with him right there, and we got the news we were going, and I just couldn't be more happy to go with a guy who's obviously really dialed, and I think it's going to be a great time. I can't wait to see who else qualifies, and hopefully we can bring some more hardware home, Colorado.
We'll just ride together on the way back with trophies. How about that?
Right?
Yeah, you might need another truck, stack the hardware in the back, flatbed or something.
Definitely room together. And if we get qualifiers through Colorado, let's link up with them guys and figure out what we can do. My suggestion, just me personal, hearing about you guys driving together, I know it's going to save on gas if you do that, but it's going to limit areas of breaking down lakes and separation. If you drove separately, one guy could
more caravanning. Yeah. Like caravanning down, not driving the same.
Okay, I got you. Okay, together as in following. One. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. No. You want to have as many people and as many places on that lake as you can, especially with the size of the fisheries down there.
Yeah.
You want to cover some water.
Is this a weird time to give a special shout out to that son of a bitch 12-inch bass that shook me to start the morning on Saturday?
I wanted to make sure.
Tell us about it.
I wanted you guys to know that if I don't, either way, I will be there again. We'll now that we're on a media pass with Bassmaster, we'll be putting that in again, and we'll be covering this event. And I can tell you from covering it, from the Classic to the National Championship, it is like nothing else you'll have a chance to go do. And the cool thing is go down there all business, get the job done. There will be plenty of time for you to take in the event when it's concluded. That's the beauty of the kayak game, is that you can go take care of business first, get that done, then let the googly eyes and bright eyes, work on, going and finding KVD and hanging out and chatting with him and enjoying the spectacle that is what Bassmaster puts on, because it is like nothing else that I've ever seen. And we're, I'm going to definitely, we'll be following you guys, and we'll be covering you and making sure that people back home here are seeing, how things are going with you guys. So.
Dude, my goal is to make sure I qualify in October so I don't have to work the damn thing.
Right.
Well, the wife, Sharon's talking me into going down. She's like, you're the tournament director for both clubs. You got to show your face down there and support your anglers. And then we can go to the Classic and we can make a time of it. And I'm like, and I'll bring my kayak and I can fish a different lake. And she goes, does it always got to be about fishing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I said,
yes,
it's going to be hard as hell for me to go down to Texas and watch all my friends fish and then go to a Classic and watch about fishing, but not be able to drown a worm and go fishing myself. I don't know. I've got serious problems. I need rehab when it comes to fishing.
Well, I think the thing is, we don't get to play with Florida strains up here. So you got to eat that up as much as you can.
It's different. And you're going to Texas. The approach, the water temperature, the strain, the attitude of the fish. I really hope both of you guys can make Red Willow. I hope both days. Levi, I know you got a baby.
Yep.
I hope you can make Norton, because those are the type of fisheries that are going to get you away from our everyday stuff that we're doing out here in Colorado. That's going to set you that much further ahead of the game for Texas, because it's a different animal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%. All right, listen, gentlemen.
We gotta cut those Wendy's talks short, bro.
Right, exactly. I do remember driving by, seeing you guys all sitting there. I do remember that as I was going to my hotel.
Yeah.
Well, listen, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. This has been one of the best shows that we've ever done. There's been some great fish knowledge, good stories shared here. I'm honored to fish with you guys. I learn a ton from every last one of you guys here. And it's a pleasure to do so, and above all, just having you come on and support the show and all the people, dude. I'm telling you, this has been one of the best viewed shows that we've had in a long time. Our viewership, live views have been staying pretty darn high. This is for our little gig. This is a good deal. We got to remember this. This round table stuff is apparently this is the key, man. This is the juice. And we I think we got, with thanks to, credit to Mr. Ali here, I think we've got several T-shirts that we're gonna have to get done in the works here. We have we'll leave it here with this. My man from up in Minnesota there. Thanks guys for the podcast. Great job. Love listening to the Doc Talk. We love you too, Cody. Thank you a ton, man. Folks at home, make sure you smash that subscribe button for us. Check out the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. All the great shows going 6-7 days a week. We got all kinds of cool content. I think tomorrow night, catch my man John Rapp on the Rusty Hook podcast. You don't want to miss that. Oh, and I'd be remiss if I let this entire show go by without reminding you that the entire Doc Talk podcast itself this year for 2024 is brought to you by none other than Battleborn Tackle. I'm telling you, go check them out, man. The more they sell, the bigger their selection gets. The prices are as good as the box stores that are out there. And you're supporting a small business and a veteran-owned small business. To boot, if that wasn't enough, how about this? Give it TPO 2024 and you're going to get yourself 10% off as well. Tell them over there that that's the best way to let them know that you saw the information here coming from the podcast, and that way they know that we're getting more. And shout out to all our Southern Nevada anglers that tune in for this. We got this cool little, I watch our analytics on our videos, we got this cool little sector down there in Southern Nevada that all of a sudden our viewership picked up down in that one little area in the desert, man, started showing up, and I'm like, that is slick, and that's all because of Battleborn, man. They support those guys down there, so good stuff. Again, thank you, gentlemen, so very much. You guys are awesome, and good luck at the Classic. I'm going to say it right now. Go get them. Follow the advice given, and I'm looking to hopefully take some of your suckers' money in some of these other events going on here in the state for the rest of the time here. Jim, you got anything else, buddy? Are you good?
No, I just want to thank you for the support, giving us anglers, Colorado Kayak Bassmasters, Wyoming Kayak Bassmasters, our finishers, that given us the opportunity to be on your podcast and showcasing these guys and following their journey as we go. So it's really appreciated. We can't thank you enough, and thank you for the sponsorship that you've given for Colorado Kayak Bassmasters.
Do we get a window to thank our sponsors or anything like that here?
Sure, why not? Let's do that. Let's go ahead and start with Eric Ali. You were the lowest finisher, so let's.
No, I was.
Jim was. No, I beat you. You got a fish, Jim.
Oh, that's right. You're
yes,
right.
Yes, Eric. Go ahead.
Well, I don't have any sponsors. I was just saying.
Right.
No, my sweet lady. She makes sure to make me snacks and stuff like that. That's and my mom for tuning in. That was super cool.
Mom, that was awesome stuff. Josh, you already thanked Shields there. Who else you got on your list, brother?
That's it. They Shields Johnstown, sponsor of the club, sponsor of me for their pro staff this year. Coming back from the whole car crash situation, literally could not have been in the spot I am without them. So just super thankful to be working with that company. And you guys all know Caleb. He's the kayak guru. So if you need anything for your yak or just fishing stuff or want to talk in the store like Jimmy and I do for 45 minutes, come to Shields and hang out. And, I just wanted to say, really appreciate what you're doing here with TPO. I think, your organization is super cool. And if y'all are listening and haven't looked into it, make sure you do. It's a really great foundation what they're doing, and just appreciate the platform to come on here and chat about fishing. That's all I ever talk about. So
thanks, brother. We appreciate that. You're absolutely welcome here anytime. Levi, who you got? You got Berkeley in there. We got Ebu Garcia. Who we got? Mercury.
It's just me and my wife, man. It's crazy. It's the stuff that she puts up with is just, I don't know. It would drive any other woman completely insane. So I just want to say thanks to her. And,
Sure.
It was Mother's Day and she had her first one, and it's awesome to see. And I just really appreciate her letting me just go fishing whenever I want.
Dude, that's awesome stuff. And that support structure, man, is so important.
Yeah.
When you have a cool dynamic like Eric has where it's a husband and wife power couple, out there fishing, that's a different story. But Yeah, man, that's super cool. I just thought about that. That's her first Mother's Day too.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Papa brought home some extra scratch for for the wife and baby. That's good
Yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She was super excited about it. Yeah. I called her as soon as I found out. I was like, we're going to the Bassmaster Classic. And, she's just as pumped as me. For the past month, I've been holding my kid, watching it online, and I'm like, Daddy's going to take you to the Classic. Daddy's going to take you to the Classic.
Hell
And
yeah.
Nice.
Super
not
cool.
only are we going to the Classic, but Daddy's competing. So,
Yeah.
Hell
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nothing like having the wives support us. And I got to give a big shout out to my wife, Sharon, who you all know does a lot behind the scenes,
Yes,
helping me run the club, both clubs. And she puts up with the blah, 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 like Josh was saying, and like we all do to our wives. She's like, I need to start a Facebook page with like Wives Anonymous or something that all the wives can get together and bitch about. They're so tired about hearing us talk about fishing. Like she could actually have something there, but I want to thank her for everything she does to support me and to help support the club and give you guys the best experience that we could possibly give you.
That's awesome.
We love us some Sharon. She's awesome, man. She does a ton for sure. Well, awesome. Okay, I think we've checked all the boxes now. So now we're closing in on that 2-hour mark for a podcast. This we might be getting close to the longest podcast that the Doc Talk's ever done, which I'm okay with it. Rogan goes like 4-6 days or some shit. So I mean, we're all right.
As long as it's good, dude. As long as it's good.
That's right. People can break it up. And I know we probably just took a tile of time off of Jason Lovell's drive on, getting through Kansas right now. He's probably appreciating this for sure. So awesome. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and sign this off. Folks, make sure to mash that subscribe button on YouTube. That's the big one that we are focused on. You can help us a ton. It's as good as a donation. Give us a like and subscribe and tell your family and friends to do the same. Check with us next Monday. We'll be coming back here. We'll have Okoboji results. We'll have some information coming from that. And we'll be prepping up for the Red Willow weekend. And that'll be on next Doc Talk coming up there. As always, thank you, gentlemen, so very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Tie lines. Be safe.